I love it, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna steal one of Joe's jokes. All right, so there's a family who live kind of like an Amish family, right? Middle of nowhere, no technology or anything. So the kids aren't used to it. The father isn't used to it. But anyway, they have to go to the bank and things have changed. First time in years they have to actually physically go to town to a bank. And now it's a booming metropolis city, right? And they go into this door and glass and look and the mom separates to go grab something and the man is there with the son and they're looking and they're seeing this wall like just open up magically. People are going in, and the wall closes, and it opens back up, and different people come out. Right? And this man and his son kept seeing one by one, some older women go into the wall, and then some beautiful young attractive women come out. Right? And so the son's like, hey, daddy, what is that all about? And the dad leans over to his son and goes, I'm not sure, son, but go get your mother.
Mm, mm, the new
So,
me, huh?
yeah, man,
Walking.
look, I love these like dad joke type deals, man. And so I like starting the show off like that, loosen everybody up, because no one can out goofy me usually with my guests. So it's a way of getting you a nice and relaxed ready to go. So
Yeah.
look, tell me, man, I'm trying to figure this out. 5 years, going on 6 years, 8 albums, going on 9 albums.
Yeah.
When do you sleep?
Um. Well, that's a great question for sure. I sleep is important. For anyone, regardless of how much you work, it's best that you get some sleep. Is most definitely better than none at all. Um, but I sleep well. I mean, I I do. There's times you don't like. Okay, let's. Right now, I don't sleep like 8 hours every night. Okay, I keep it real with you. I don't. I'm not getting 8 hours. Didn't get 8 hours last night. It's okay. But what I do is I prioritize sleep. Even if I know I'm going to get 3 hours, 4 hours of sleep, I know that it's got to be quality 4 hours of sleep. I slept for 4 hours and it felt like I slept for eight, just by making sure that I'm not getting just like I'm not getting any like notifications in the middle of the night from anyone, and just focus on that. So that's really all of that it is when you do um, perform at a high level like that. You really just have to get your priorities together in order, so that way what's most important, you can take care of.
Yeah, man, I can't imagine like how much time you spend in the studio, how much time you are, trying to balance your real world duties, like bills and whatnot and all that. How to, 'cause I feel like for artists out there, if they had some kind of sponsor, they say, "Hey kid, 4 years, I just want you to just be crazy. Like instead of college, this place where you just create for 4 years. I'm gonna take care of your food, your bills, everything. All you have to do is create. And if something pops off, great. Pay me the same fee you would a manager or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, if not, hey man, best luck to you, right?
right.
I would love to see someone like just what kind of art will blossom out of just having focused time on art alone.
Yeah, I think about that all of the time. Simply put, rapping doesn't pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? So I always look at it as, this isn't full time. I don't wake up and say I'm clocking in for 8 or so many hours today just on music. Granted, there are days that I do, clock in and just go in and just create, and it doesn't feel like a job that way. I would honestly say the amount of hours that I put into it, because I do it every chance that I have to do it. I just record, and to be most honest about it is, I don't write anymore, and I know it's been a transition from writing my albums to now freestyling them, because just the time that it takes to the process, the writing process, it's redundant to me because it takes a lot to write and edit, revise and record. And um, now I already know what I want to say, so I just feel like I'm confident enough to just go on ahead and say it. So,
Oh man, listen, look, I think the people have gotten into the podcast. Well, how about this? Let's go ahead and start the show. We'll introduce you properly.
all right, sounds good.
All right, we are back.
Yeah.
This is the Urban Academia Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Dilla, as usual. And right over here, we have a special guest, artist, Mr. Bam Bam. Go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself, sir.
Thank you, Jay Zilla. I appreciate you having me here and giving me the opportunity to introduce myself to the world a little bit here today. Most definitely, I go by the name Bam Bam, and first and foremost, it is an acronym I came up with myself. Be a man now, by all means necessary. Just as a reflection of being a child. My mother used to always call me Bam Bam for just being a nuisance in the kitchen. Like when there would be like pots and pans on the floor, I'd always bang on them and just, make commotion in the kitchen. And mainly it's like from the cartoon, The Flintstones, the little blonde hair boy with the club. And so I kind of really tied in and adapted to that character a lot. And that's where the name came from, actually. And I didn't actually tap into that character until my first apartment on my own, where I came out with the album Non-Compliance, and that's when I decided that that would be the nickname that I wanted to be my stage name. And I believe that's good enough for an introduction for me right there.
Hey, that's a great introduction. I love that you hit the acronym, right? Be a man now.
Yeah.
By all or any means.
By all means necessary. Yeah.
All means. It is all. Let me second guess
Yeah.
myself. By
It's
all
all right.
means necessary. So look,
Mhm.
talk about Non-Compliance. That's your first album.
Yeah.
In 2019. We talked
Mhm.
about before the show. Man, how does it talk to me about the three stages? I want to make an album, right? The process of making the album, and then after the album's made, what do I do?
Okay. Well, I mean, first and foremost, for me, what it was is I always wanted to do music. I always wanted to do this since I was about 15. That's when I began. So really, it's been a long process. So I didn't put this album out until I was 24. So in about 9 years already into the making, when I really had just been like working on my craft. There's no other way to put it. So from just writing everything that I find interesting down. But when I actually had a reason to write an album was what made me do it. It was like I didn't have really much of another choice, and what it was a major tragedy happened to me. Obviously it was my fault, but I threw a major house party in a one-bedroom apartment, and just it just went left. Took a sharp left. It was actually a very long night. 2018, it was a summer night. The intro explains what happened at the party, but I had went downtown because there was actually it was at I believe the Gem Spot, because the rapper Triple X Tension was just murdered in Florida, and so they were doing like a tribute to him. Just local rap artists were going downtown to perform. So I went down there to do that, and then after that, I had went home, and then had met a guy down there. By the his real name is actually Bam. Um, cool guy. What a coincidence, right? And so go back to my apartment, and then I end up throwing a house party there under the influence of alcohol, of course. And then my jewelry got stolen. I had a class ring that I got for graduating high school because I hardly graduated high school. So that was a big accomplishment for me. And that ring was personal. It had my initials in there. It had a hand dunking a basketball because I can dunk a basketball and I'm real short. And obviously I graduated. It was a diamond and gold. And then my watch I got for graduating college, would get my bachelor's degree in college because I just had it sitting on the dresser. I wasn't even planning to have a party. And so basically, long story short, I could have gotten evicted. And so basically what I really had to do there was just that changed my life because I got rid of the social media because I couldn't accuse anybody of who took my jewelry. And also there was a very bad fight happened too. I couldn't accuse anybody of stealing because I don't like to be accused if I didn't do it, if I didn't steal anything. So I didn't want to accuse anybody on my social media. And then, so I got rid of that because I just couldn't trust anyone. And I just needed to focus on being quiet because I was on a 6 months non-compliance where if I had any more noise complaints, I would be kicked out. So I didn't want to go back to my mom's house, so to speak. So I just picked up a second job, started grinding. And then at that point, it was when I wrote The Vent, which is on the third album, my fourth album, Love Letter, because I had enough, man. Enough was enough. So that was my reason to start writing. And then once I had money for studio time, I went to Errol's Independent Studio. At this time, it was on University in Manal. And this is how you do it. Well, this is how I did it. What I would do, man, I would just I'd find my instrumentals. I use like Cash App AP instrumentals, and I just write, edit. And because I'm paying for studio time, I gotta come in the studio ready to go because I'm paying for the hours. So I can't be in there not knowing what I'm saying and not how the song. So I gotta rehearse the song at home in between working two jobs. So then when I get into the studio, I just lay it down and go home. And then, that's how I did it for all 14 songs on there. And once I got that down, I just started to say, look, this is something that I like to do because for me, most importantly, it felt therapeutic because I was finally able to talk about the things that were really, bothering me and express it in a way that I couldn't express it face to face with other people just because it was just far too much and far too deep and just, nobody, the only people that have time for all that is a counselor. So, I mean, you really just got,
gotta pay for that too, just like you do with the studio time. Right?
Exactly. So
I just want to ask, first of all, shout out to high school, right? And you're talking about Albuquerque, New Mexico, for the people who may not know that. Right? But was it La Cueva?
Yeah, for my last 2 years, junior and senior.
Yeah. So Non-Compliance, the first album, it stems from something that happened, right? And I do remember listening to the album, and you start off by reading your letter.
Yeah, that Non-Compliance.
Like, hey man, chill out or else, right? So that was such a cool thing. I suggest that y'all go ahead and would that be on the YouTube channel we discussed earlier?
Yeah, not the Young Victor artist, but the BAM topic.
But we'll put that up. I'm sure my piece will put it up there pretty soon. But yeah, like man, that was fun to listen to because it sets the tone, it sets the pace.
It does.
Yeah,
that was real.
Yes. Yeah. So look, tell me about you have some time to go by, and then second album comes out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What? Because I really love what you said. Like you kind of had that 9-year span where you felt like you really have a reason to write, but this crazy night happens, right?
Yeah.
They say Estacion, or how to say, I've always messed it up. Sorry.
Yeah, me too.
But you have that guy
Mhm.
pass away.
Yeah,
It's kind of the blood is up a little bit. Like it felt, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it has like a thickness in the air, right?
yeah,
Of both celebration, mourning, and just anger. And yeah,
yeah,
no understanding. But I love how you put that. I didn't write until I had a reason to write.
yeah.
Right. Well, tell me about that. What made you write album number two here?
So with out of commission, with this one, what happened? I really went out of commission. As I was working two jobs, honestly, I was like, man, if I'm working two jobs, putting in these amount of hours a week, I might as well, find something I can do that's going to pay me working, one job. And so I decided to sell cars, used cars at Reliable Chevrolet over there on Course, and over there on Course. And I was only there for 7 weeks, and here's why. So I'm an ex-athlete, right? I used to play basketball, and
You always an athlete, my friend.
what was that?
I said once an athlete, always an athlete. Right.
I agree. I agree. I just can't dunk. I just shouldn't dunk anymore, is what I would say. But um, so I was working at Reliable Chevrolet. Things were actually going well. Like first the first 10 days I think it was. I was there from like May 2nd, and then I had ruptured my patellar tendon on May 13th, 2019, because I was going up for a dunk at this public park, and I was just like ready to dunk, but it was in the middle of May, and I don't know, it just wasn't hot enough. And I usually go out like in a sauna suit because I always got to warm up because I'm all short. And so I go up for a dunk. I made the first one, and then I go for the second dunk, and my foot slips. My left foot that I planted like slips forward, and it rips my patellar tendon on my kneecap. And it kind of rolled up into my quad, and I had to drive myself to the hospital, and it was just it ruined my career. So I couldn't really like you can't. I couldn't sell cars on in a straight leg brace, and it was actually very painful. So I had to have knee surgery 7 days later, May 20th, and that also changed my life because I literally had to after I had the surgery. This was right before I turned 25, so that's when I knew I was getting old. I was like, okay, my young days are my young days are over. So I had to have the knee surgery, and with the knee surgery, after that, I mean, the injury itself didn't hurt that bad, but it was the recovery from the knee surgery. I had to go to physical therapy, and with that, I had to really start over from scratch. I felt like a child because my left leg was like extremely skinny. I had no flexibility, so I had to start off by like being able to bend my knee with the physical trainer, from being able to bend my knee, just being able to support my own body weight, and then just crutches and all that stuff. So I mean, it really wasn't a fun time, and obviously I couldn't work anymore. So what happened was from my first apartment, it, I went back to my mom's house and didn't have any job. So I mean, obviously there's a lot of emotion there. You just kind of feeling all kinds of things from depression to just you obviously got to remotivate yourself, because the main motivator there is you want to walk again. So, and the most important thing I realized about all of that was nobody was going to help me except for myself. I have to walk for myself. So it's kind of like being a man now type of deal. You got to man up and you got to do what you're supposed to do. Otherwise, you're just not going to get it done. But the funny thing about that album I wrote out of commission was um, there's really not much about the injury. It's really more or so about what I just had previously went through at my time in that apartment. Just explained a little bit differently.
So okay, I'm gonna go backwards a little bit.
Yeah,
So, dude, man, I didn't know that backstory about you. Like, I mean, I knew about the injury and everything, but the idea of the out of commission and the depression and the man up, right? All that was not only just to get through this knee injury, but mental state you were.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you're no longer on social media.
No, yeah, no, definitely
Tell
not.
me a little bit about why.
Yeah. And I'm definitely a misfit for this. And it's also a song that I just released. But in non-compliance, I talk about in the song LSD that I'm not on social media anymore. And then I also I talk about I touch base on it on that song. I think there's a few other songs where I don't, and you'll hear more, but um, that's when I really just took back my life, I guess. Because when I had that house party and everything went left, I didn't blame anybody, but I didn't learn my lesson. I still didn't learn my lesson. So I went out to another pool party and kind of just I had the Samsung Note 9 phone. I was going to jump into a pool with the phone in my pocket, but I gave it to my neighbor because I just didn't want to risk the water. It says it's water resistance, but I didn't want to risk that. That wasn't when I lost my phone. I lost it getting in an Uber, and that phone had just like way better quality and everything like that. So by the time I got a replacement phone, it was like a lower end phone, and I didn't really like the quality of social media, just like how everything looked and sounded. So I didn't want to be on social media anymore, and I also just wanted to be alone. I mean, clearly, my life was just not going in the right direction. I mean, I'm in trouble for throwing a wild house party, got my jewelry stolen. Now I lost my $900 cell phone. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I'm just losing everything. So I was just like, just no more social media, and then that's literally right then and there when I just took back my life. Just like, okay, I'm not gonna worry about what everybody else has got going on. I'm just gonna focus on what I got going on because clearly my life is in shambles. So let me just go ahead and you know man up, just take responsibility for my actions, and hold myself accountable. And okay, that's when that album came out. That's when I got in better shape, not just like mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, just all around, man. And that's where I kind of hold it to social media, just because I gained so much more time within a day to where um, I was just able to come and go as I please in my own world without having to feel like I'm checking in with everyone. Like when I go out, I just go out. I don't have to show people I'm going out. And when I'm out, I don't have to tell people what I'm eating when I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I just mind my business.
Yeah, man. Yeah, listen, I love doing that. I did it a couple of times to like, what do you call it? Ironically, right? Sometimes it was just like happy to eat scrambled eggs or something. It's just like
Yeah.
a meal and stuff. But I get it. So you said that you by because there's this guy out there, Bishop Walker,
Hmm.
uh, Zion Church in Nashville, Tennessee. Pretty good church.
Hmm.
He said saying yes to one thing is automatically saying no to another. So by you, if I'm following you correctly,
Hmm.
by you saying yes to social media, you were saying no to some other things that probably would have helped you out
Every single time.
every single
Every.
time. This is what I try to tell my girls, because my girls are 15 and 19. My boys are about 5 7.
Hmm.
I tell them, all of them, but now the boys are starting to creep into that, YouTube thing. So
Yeah.
I tell them that
Cool.
like it should be entertainment or educational. Um, but if you feel like it's something opinionated, right? Especially when you get into like politics and stuff like that,
Yeah.
that should be the beginning. Like if you see something on like my girls all the time see something on TikTok, and Dad, you'll never believe. It's like when I start asking questions and you just see it
Hmm.
about to crumble apart in their mind. It's like, oh, look, I don't know about that. Oh well, I think you think about that question. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this Israel Palestine stuff that's happening, right?
Oh yeah. Definitely.
With the mosque right there in the middle, it's the real issue, right? Not to mention Israel's Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, right? Please don't give me all that stuff. But like all the time, especially my daughter and my 19-year-old, being
Hmm.
that go Lobos. Sorry to see y'all lose, but hey, maybe the tournament is a good
That's
feel.
good. Yeah, that was good.
But but On these campuses, these liberal arts campuses,
Yeah.
where they hear a snippet and see something, and I feel them. They see this horrific thing and they want to react. And like, let's go protest. Let's go. And like me just asking, about the history of the region and why you think these things are happening. You can see it go from like, you know what, this person is wrong to like, oh well, okay, I get why they're doing it. But what
Yeah.
about this? It's like, oh shoot, I didn't think about that angle. Like so, social media is a tool, right?
Yeah.
Hammer, you can bust somebody's head open or you can build a house. So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're
Mhm.
saying like, yes, social media is just a tool, but I kept hitting my thumb instead of the nail I was after. So I had to put that hammer down. Obviously, this hammer is not working out that well for me, and
Yeah.
that's what we get out
Yeah.
of your album, right?
Yeah. I'd
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Okay, man, that's crazy. Now, I do want you to kind of go into what man up means, because some of these phrases have been kind of usurped and made to they're deemed like bad, right? Like, and that's one of which caught me by surprise. But I want you to tell people what man up means to you, because a lot of people are looking at it as toxic masculinity,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But I always say it depends on how you use it. So talk to me a little bit about Man Up and how it got you to your third album in that gum 5 years. It's crazy.
So I mean, for me, realistically, it's definitely a personal thing. As the acronym, be a man now by all means necessary. It's really what I stand for. Basically, just be an adult. Be your own man. Don't follow anybody. Be your own person. You know what's best for you. Just do it. If you know you shouldn't be doing that, don't do it. If you know you're supposed to be doing this, just do it. You don't have to ask anybody for permission if you know what the right thing is to do. I mean, a lot of the times it's not going to be the popular thing to do, and that's where I fit in. Is that when I got off of social media for the very first time, because I had a lot of problems with social media, man. I had people threatening to rob me and all kind of things. It's dangerous on social media. It can be. So for me, it was really the greatest thing that happened to me because I was able to just say, look, I'm not going to follow the crowd. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect from the social media because it's not serving me. It's doing me a disservice because I'm the type of person that likes to overshare. And that's it's not always well, you don't know who's watching. You never know who's watching. That's how I look at it. Just because that person is your friend doesn't mean they're not with people on the other side of that screen plotting, planning on you. So a lot of times it made me paranoid and have to look over my shoulder because I don't know who's been peeping and looking at what I have going on in my life. So um, for me, when I say be a man now, I mean just take accountability for your actions. Step up to the plate. Um, Man or woman. It's not about a masculinity thing. It's just basically saying grow up. Like that's what happened when I threw the house party. It just made me grow up. I was childish. I was doing childish things. At 23, when I first got in there, I just graduated college with my master's degree at 22. So I just turned 23. I didn't want to live in my mom's house anymore. I felt I was, too old to do that. Okay, I go out here into the real world and act like a kid. Okay, they're gonna show you need to be an adult, a responsible adult. So I mean, it's just a lesson learned. That's really all it is. You're going to learn lessons in life, and what do those lessons make you do? They make you learn. They make you grow. Um, that's simply put it. I'm just, a male and, used to watch the Flintstones like crazy. And, BAM is actually an acronym for affirmative action. I think it's for like, it's actually by any means necessary. That's the one for like that organization that's out there for like immigrants and stuff like that, which we're all a part of, people of color, brown, black, native, Asian. And that's actually important too. But I didn't want to confuse people that probably knew that. So I made sure, because it's spelled the exact same way, I made sure to change any to all and, be a man now by all means necessary. So that way it would be different.
It's not that you know, but that does go back to even Malcolm X, right? In some of his favorite addresses, he would sort of punctuate his speeches with "by any means necessary," right?
Yeah.
So, I get you. I get you. That's
Yeah.
good to have differentiation. I
Yeah.
love your explanation of man up. Like it's more about responsibility, accountability, discipline, right?
Yeah.
Need to do something, get it done. And this is what I mean about these phrases. We have these
Mhm.
phrases that mean these things. We have some people come along and co-opt them and start to taint them,
Mhm.
right? By man up and have sex with 17 girls in one night and you ain't a real man. It's like, whoa, that's not what man up meant, right?
No.
And then after that, you have the reaction to the people who co-opted it, and
Mhm.
man up is now one of those toxic terms that men use. It's like, what? No, my father or my coaches would tell me, hey, man up, which
Mhm.
means, yeah, hey, I know you're tired, but you need to finish this that spread,
Yeah.
right? Because this is gonna help you in the game, which is gonna help you get what you want, which is
Right.
success in your sport.
That's true.
So
That's
yeah,
true.
have non-compliance, right?
Mhm.
Decide because of that craziness, the foolishness, the
Mhm.
maturity, right? Very big of you to admit that.
Yeah.
Social media's out, right? You
Yeah.
have the injury, right? You start to get down mentally,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So out of commission is birthed out of that.
Yeah.
Hashtag Bam say my name.
Yeah.
Right? Come on, man. Where did that come from? What's
Uh,
happening with that album?
this one's a breakthrough album. It was definitely something I had been working on when I had did out of commission because I was just writing so much. Um, also, just being sober as well too helped a lot with it as well. Writing it, I wrote that whole album and I had my one and only feature on there. I started writing that one in like 2019, and with that one, it was what I really wanted to have fun doing because I used covers. Like all of those songs are from the Billboard Top 200 of 2019. And I knew one way to make an impact and to reach people was go to where everybody is, meet people where they are. And so who's popping right now? Lil Baby or whatever song is on the Billboard that I like first and foremost. That I'm like, yeah, I like that song. I listen to it all the time. I'm gonna make my own version of it. And obviously keep it name title the same to give them their credibility for, obviously I wouldn't have the song if they never came out with the song. So it's not like, oh, I'm better than them or nothing like that. It's just like, no, I really heavily mess with the song and I want to make my own version of it. I feel obviously there's a connection there. So that's really where that spun off from because it's basically the same as Out of Commission ones. That one did covers. Unlike non-compliance, when I came out for the first time, I had to make sure that those were all original beats, just to be, that's how it's supposed to be. So I just after that one, I want to have fun. So the pandemic hit, and I'm telling you, Bam say my hashtag Bam say my name is a movie because
Mm.
um, it it took a year, but I don't even realize it because there were so many things that were going on in that year, and I was 17 tracks with skits, and I was constantly you could just hear the authenticity out of it in the skits, like it's real, like we're just like it, like it's my that's why I call it my breakthrough album, and then also with the photo, if you look at the photo, the cover art, we took that photo on Washington Central before before people just tagged it with graffiti and just destroyed it. Luckily,
Wow.
uh, what was that? Oh,
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah. Before my photographer and I got in there and took the photo, and I'm telling you, 2020 was just an amazing year for me because I put out four projects. I put out of commission in February. So I kept that consistent with non-compliance. Then in March, I dropped two music videos. I did two music videos with this first professional music videos I've ever done. The first one I did was Die for Me. That's on Out of Commission, where I talk about some heavy content in there, and then I talk about Bad Bad Bad, which is also a real life event. Which that's that one I wasn't really proud of. That's why I took that music video down. But then I realized, um, I just realized, man, just put it out. Like it already happened. Just I just put it back up. That's why the views are all low. But I mean, it was doing real well. And then after that, and still in 2020, then I put out in November hashtag BAMN Say My Name. And then my grandmother passed in March, and so I mean, it was just like a lot of things going on. Obviously, the pandemic and all that stuff. But I kept writing. And then I got with my friend who's training to be a UFC fighter. I got him on the track on the intro, and even that song, "Something to Prove," is a real story. I got socked in the Uber on my way home from a house party. So I mean, like, I mean, there's just a bunch of random things that happen to me, or I talk about all the time in my music, and and that's why I really enjoy doing it, because I know there's people that probably might go through that. And I like to give people a heads up, like those things can happen. It ain't safe in an Uber.
What a wild thing to say. It ain't safe in the Uber. And I am not talking about the auto drivers, right?
Yeah, right. But I mean, yeah, that's how I came out with that one, man. And that was that one actually was a breakthrough for me. That's the first time I added some ad libs on the track and just have fun, let loose, yeah.
Have fun letting loose. And it sounds like, and I heard a couple of songs suggested, it sounds like you're starting to come into as far as professional rap, right?
Mhm.
And like, so this is more of a mixtape, like a DJ drama, right? Sort of thing.
Yeah, that's actually what they're called at. Coming up listening to like Lil Wayne dropping mixtapes like Dedication 2,
Two,
3.
oh, that's
Yeah,
my
yeah,
too.
yeah, like No Ceilings and the whole mixtape series and stuff like that. But for me, nobody's gonna take me serious if I'm saying, "Hey, man, you want to listen to my mixtape?" Like it's not 2008 no more. What- so I gotta
Oh,
come
man, you
hard.
starting to age me a little bit now.
Yeah, I like I gotta sound a little more serious about it. Like, hey man, you can listen to my album. It sounds a little bit more, presentable. Here's my album.
It is. I feel like the people that came before you helped you to see it.
Yeah, because mixtapes were all we really At once Little Wayne got into it, yeah, that's really what we kind
It
of.
was crazy. To hear some of these, like, at the time, really popular beats. It was like,
Yeah,
like,
and that's
two through
and that
four away. Whew.
that's exactly where I got the technique from. I just, I said I'm gonna do what Wayne did because it worked for him. I mean, it's gonna work for me too. So
I love it. And he just sounds like he's having fun. That's
yeah,
it.
exactly.
So Love Letter is the next album.
Mhm.
What caused you to start to feel that you had a reason to write that?
Yeah, so this one, just a major move and a major moment in my life as well. Again, as all of the albums are. I felt like with this one, so these were some beats I had stored away from 2019, and some songs, I had written but just never put out. And I guess was an album that I had on the back burner. I was gonna put it out in 2019, but I ended up putting out hashtag BAM Say My Name because nobody expected a pandemic. And that's kind of where life took me. But when I finally got here where I am now today, right now, um, I didn't know how to feel about anything. I definitely didn't want to pour any hate into the world or things like that after everything that I had been through. So I felt like with the music, I always feel like it comes from a place out of love and passion. So I was just like, well, you know, here's a love letter, and um, I think what it really amounted to, now that I look back at it, was it has two of the last songs I ever wrote, which is Seeing Green and Drunk Dialing My Phone. And then the first song I ever wrote and recorded, which was The Vent. Um, so I look back at that now. Those were the first and last songs I ever wrote because after that album I stopped writing. Then there's some other songs in there like Defeated, um, where I really feel, yeah, I really feel like I felt like how it was. I felt like I lost, I just felt defeated. And then I have some other songs like Inbound where I talk about my ex-girlfriend and, I had these songs I wrote everywhere. This was all while I was like in a leg brace. So I was writing some of these songs at the bar. I was writing some of these songs, at the Village Inn. I was just writing songs wherever, just anywhere, man. The library, like the actual library with books, not the bar of the library. I put that one together, but I felt like that one didn't really resonate with people as much. But I felt that I felt like it was actually my time, like to do what I'm doing now, because I noticed when I was writing my last song, Seeing Green and Drunk Down on My Phone, I was tired of writing. Um, I just felt like I know I can write, but that's not why I'm doing rap. I'm not doing rap to write. I always wrote because I had to write. I couldn't just like openly scream and shout in my apartment or at my mom's house. So when I finally got my own house, um, I was like, it's time to like do what I always been wanting to do since I was 15. 11 years later. So that's when, I pretty much, instead of doing, and that's exactly where I'm at, instead of being like, you know what, I'm here, I made it, F everybody, da 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 da, ooh, wah, wah. Nah, I was like, you know what, man, it's all love. I'm grateful and thankful to make it here after all I've been through. Um, count my blessings, and there's gonna be more music to come. And that's how I left it. I just left it at that, and then I got into freestyling and just working on my craft.
I want to ask now because um, so me as a Christian, I'm always like before I study, like whether it's inside or outside the Bible, try to get some social context, historical
Hmm.
context around biblical context, which I do believe like I try to make that my symbol,
Hmm.
right? One of the things I found interesting is book of Job, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes. Right, like these are three books that are meant to be read together, and I never read them. Right?
Hmm.
Job is that battle where he loses everything, where he has everything and praises God, loses everything and praises God, but he's still like, "What's crap, man? Like, what's
Yeah,
going on, God? What's happening here?" Right?
yeah,
Even his friends are like, "Man, Job, you must have done something, bro. Like, please
yeah,
repent. Like, make this
yeah.
stop. This is affecting me." And like,
Right.
not just like a real G or like what I believe can be the ultimate father. Like, take some, come on, son. Let me explain how this stuff works. And
Yeah,
afterwards, Joel was just like, "Oh, I get it. I get it now. Like, it don't
yeah.
matter if I got everything in the world or nothing at all.
Hmm.
Like, how does that matter? It's like it's all temporary anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Until the real kingdom comes.
Yeah.
Proverbs is more of that, the love and wisdom, right? It's very flowery, right?
Yeah.
Ecclesiastes is more like in your face, but the three very real versions of love. So when I look at the triangle, this is gonna be a
Mm.
weird. Here at Urban Academia podcast, we like to make wild connections. Okay, so
Good.
bear with me here.
All
Okay,
right. Cool. Good.
all right. You got Drake,
Uh huh.
who has at the time Rockefeller and Cash Money kind of bidding for him,
Yeah.
right? Started. He ultimately goes with uh, Lil Wayne and Cash Money. But all of his lamenting, like he had it all, and then now people are like are super, I guess hyper critical of his work, and then you see him get emotional and going after
Mm.
people one by one, like he's not
Yeah.
straight. That
That's
seems very
crazy.
old to me,
I didn't
right?
know
But
that.
Proverbs, right? For me, it's more of a J. Cole. Like, I'm just gonna softly and gently tell you how things are. Like he
Yeah.
had a line like with all this P Diddy stuff coming out. He has a line where he talks about meeting P Diddy and feeling some type of way because now he knows too much.
Hmm.
Like, that's a clever. Like, he's not saying P Diddy over here doing a bunch of stuff he ain't supposed to be doing, right? But he is saying like you want to meet your heroes, but like you don't want to meet your heroes, right? He's got a line talking about something that P Diddy was up to at the time, and like, oh my goodness, man, I looked up to you. Like I played your album like crazy.
Yeah,
You would have thought
I
my
can
favorite.
get that. Yeah.
The Ecclesiastes part is the old man telling it like it is. That to me strikes me as Kendrick Lamar, right? Don't be afraid to have a hard, tough conversation. In
Yeah.
his last album with Stephanie. You know, it's just like seeing how they move. That's the wild connection I make with those three versions of love, right? You know,
Hmm.
the complaining one is the flowery Disney type stuff, like J. Cole telling you to love yourself,
Yeah.
right? And mind your business, but work really, really hard at your craft. Stay
Yeah.
focused. And then Kendrick Lamar was like, man, let's drop some F bombs. Right?
Yeah.
Let's drop some sexually explicit content and have a real conversation. That this is also love,
Yeah.
right? So what is Bam Bam's relationship with romantic love and love for the music, and then how do you find balance with that? I know that
Um,
was a long way to ask that little bitty
no,
question.
it's perfect. Actually, I appreciate that. That's an eye opener. I think like for me, it's I like all three of those artists. I relate with all of them. I mean, mostly, man, the relationship that I have with the music and romance, man, it's like it's a passion. Like I really have like a drive for the just the emotion that I get from creating by telling my story. It's not always likely that I get to tell people, what's going on or, what I've been through in my life. And I feel like music for me is the time where I get to go in and speak on that. And it for me, it does a lot more good than bad. Um, I know it's not for everybody, but that's not a problem because as long as I make what I love to listen to, then I'm okay with it. But that also keeps me going too. It's like I know I have like a keen ear for music. I like to listen to a particular sound, so I want to make that sound. And I use your Kendrick, J. Cole, Wale, Drake, Wayne, um, so on and so forth as crutches, to guide me on my own path for making my style the way it is now. But the most important thing about it is I don't want to sound like those guys. I always want to sound like myself. And so um, I think with this is a lot of the times what I'd like to add in is I hear a lot of older artists always say it's a young man's game or it's a young person's game. It's a young person's game. It's for the young people to be doing the music. I used to believe that until I got old. And then I was like, I'm not old, but I'm old enough to be like,
Why you look at me? Why you look at me when you said that like that? I'm not old.
because I know older people will be like, you're not old. So I was like, okay, but I'm older than the younger people. So I'm not that bridge. I'm the bridge in the gap between the old generation and the younger generation. I'm that person that ties it together because it's not just a young person's game. There's a real life disconnect, not only in music, but in real life. There's a disconnection between the older generation and the younger generation. And the disconnect is my generation. We're not connecting the dots. And so what I do in my music is um I express that this is how it is, this is how it was, this is how it should be. Um, Basically by saying I'm old enough to tell you that. I've lived long enough to tell you that. I'm like 30 years, I'll be 30 years old this year. That's 3 decades. That's old enough to tell you what the grandparents were telling us, and they don't have that knowledge. They weren't their grandparents, they're gone. So, we're the ones that still have that wisdom and that knowledge. And, I still carry it. And so, that's the disconnect. I feel like I'm the missing link when it comes to that, because you have either like your raw crowd, that want to just pop Molly and shoot stuff up crowd. And now you have the new women wave, not to take anything away from women, but you know how they're talking right now. It's a little raunchy. But you had Little Kim back in the day, so it's kind of hard, but it's just different now. I don't know. It's just a little uncomfortable.
It's the difference between Lil Kim and Sexy Red. Like, no disrespect for her. Like, so here's the thing that blows my mind in the rap game these days, right? You have, like, it used to be about the hustle. How can I find any and every way to get this money so I can flex and give myself freedom, give myself whatever your goal was. It was about the hustle. So when I see people like, oh, Beyonce trying to be country, man, that's whack. Like, what happened to like hyping up the hustle? Like, she's going to a whole new genre of music. That's not an easy thing to do. What are we doing? Jay-Z now works with NFL. He'll sell out. But you're supposed to. It's the hustle. Like, even your Rays and your Lil Kim, like, they are.
That's true. That's very true. And shout out to the hustle here in Albuquerque, the local radio station. But it is about the hustle, and I think that's what's also a part of the joy of creating the music, is because you can't be afraid to branch out. Like, when I heard Lil Wayne do the remix to Adele, Could Have Had It All, I'm Sorry for the Wait, like that's how I did the remix to Billie Eilish, Everything I Wanted, and Billie Eilish, Ocean Eyes, because you can't be afraid to like stay in rap. Show how talented you are. Go into pop, go into country. Wayne did rock. That's my favorite album, The Rebirth. Like, if you have it in here, if you have the hustle, if you have the drive, the passion, the love, the skill, the talent, the art, all of that and above, do it. That's how I approach the art, is just like show people a different side of you, because that's all artists want to do, is they want to show people their true side, another side of them that, usually a vulnerable side. It's not usually like, so that's how my relationship is. I treat it the same way I do, and I express it through my music. Like with relationships, like it's not always, easy, but I always describe what an ideal relationship is. But, the expectation of what a relationship should be like and what the reality of a relationship is like are sometimes two different things. So,
listen, I'm gonna mention one more album before I want you to kind of go back to the Love Letter album. Like, that Graffiti song, by the way, it's found its way to our playlist. You know what I mean? I love it. Like, folks, go out and check it out. If I had my audio like together, I'd play it for you right back up now.
Thank you.
But you talk about all these, this writing and the music, the relationship with music. It sounds very therapeutic. Would you agree with that sort of depiction, I guess?
Yeah, I definitely agree all the way, because when I would write songs like that, and I have to pull from the heart. I have to pull from my gut. I have to pull from my mind, and the way I approach it when I write like those songs, man, I write it as if I'm writing that person a letter. Because it's always personal, it's always private. It's like a secret diary. You sit usually alone in a room, and then just sitting there to the instrumental playing, and then you just thinking about life, and then you just write down exactly how you feel, your deepest, darkest feelings. But it's like Kanye West's My Dark Twisted Fantasy, a Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. You shine light on dark situations and dark subject matter, and you can't be afraid to talk about it. That's why, like, a lot of the times when I put out music, I'm often like sometimes like afraid to listen to it, because it's some like with the upcoming album, there's going to be some things on there that I'm saying, and it makes me want to hide my face when I go outside, but I realize I'm not famous, so it's okay.
Yet, yet, yeah. But that's good. Like with the Kanye, like I gotta say, sorry, as a Ye fan, I respect him. We'll speak off on the phone. As a Ye fan for a long time, like I feel for this dude. And it's like watching his journey is almost perfect. I thought he was on something when he released the Thunder project.
Mhm.
You can see his heart all over him. Right? And what he's doing now is what you said, it's just talking about a part of his life that it feels very dark. It feels very dark. Right?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Super sexual and I mean in a way
True.
that's borderline like, hey man, you okay? Like
Yeah.
is your mic okay? You know what I mean? But like the last album that I listened to with him that I really enjoyed is Life of Pablo. Like
Which one?
Life of Pablo.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, like he was like musically, I don't know how you would say it, like tonally or whatever it is, like the energy that he put in, you can feel it every time you talk about him. It makes you feel something. Not sure what that something is, but he is tapped into some part
I
of
like the message of Life of Pablo. I just wish I would have been able to listen to it at the time when it came out, because in 2016 I was in Portales, New Mexico, and I was still buying CDs.
yeah.
So I would go to Hastings, and Hastings didn't have his album because it went digital. So it was just on it was just available digital. So I missed out. I didn't get it until like I was at rock bottom already, and I was like, dang man, I wish I'd have heard that 2 years ago. I'd have probably not been here.
So okay, we're gonna talk about okay this title by itself, Drinking in Bed,
Yeah.
right? And talk about the new project before I get you out of here.
Okay, good. All right, so we're drinking in bed. The title I came up with on my own. I was in the pandemic, like everybody else was, stuck in the house. And it wasn't really like a shining moment for me. It was more of a moment of just being like clear with myself as I would look at it, because during the pandemic, man, like I lived in a studio apartment and I'd work from home, so I never really went outside. And I was just in the house all day, and I mean, it was pretty bad. Like when your nights and days are just drinking, it's pretty bad. So, one good thing I got out of it though, at least I can shed some insight, is, I mean, I don't know, to each their own on this, because I was originally going to call it I Like Drinking in Bed, but then I realized I don't think I really like it, and I don't think everybody else would really like drinking in bed. But mainly what I realized out of it, because I, just drinking like beer and watch like movies and then just fall asleep, I realized like that's not actually like a bad like thing to do. I think it's actually one of the most chillaxing things you can do, whether you're by yourself or you're with, a partner. Literally, the worst that's going to happen is you're just going to go to sleep, and you're already in bed. Um, and I don't know. I was getting ready to say I don't know why I chose that title, but then I know why, because it's like, why not? Like, I'm living in a global pandemic. What else am I doing? Drinking in bed. So it was like, but I didn't even have the album written yet. Like this, I came up with this in like the top of 2021. So this was like coming off of the hashtag BAM Say My Name. And I was like, okay, what's next? Like, is life gonna get better, or are we gonna be able to go back outside? Because I'm just here drinking in bed. So I know this can't be life. So and then my brother-in-law took that photo. I didn't even know he was taking the picture. This was like around Christmas, had on like a onesie and a Miami Heat beanie, just sitting down minding my business with my feet up, and he just takes a photograph of me. I didn't even know he took it, and I was like, you know what, that's just gonna be an album cover because I've really just been minding my own business lately, and you know, I came out with that now. Actually, so that's the title. So title and the music are two different things. So when it came to the music, this is after I moved out of my one little studio apartment and then moved here. Um, I stopped working at one job and started working at another job, so I wouldn't work at home anymore. I was tired. I couldn't work from home anymore. It's not. I need to see people. I need to be around people. I need to be back in in the real world. And so there was a time lapse between. Hence, one of the songs on the album is called Time Lapse. There was a time lapse between leaving one employer and going into the other employer. It was about a month. And so within that month, I didn't drink. I think I probably there's like one song, maybe, Justin P's Infinity, I think I did, maybe. But other than that, the other ones, they weren't, drinking wasn't involved. But it was a time I was a little bit down because I I was like a little scared of not being employed and then just having made a major purchase, this home I have. And I was like, am I gonna be okay? I was like, I don't know. I felt a little down and like distraught. So I was like, let me go ahead and just create. This is actually, I mean, honestly, this is how we get to where I am now. Because this is where I found my style. Because as I was saying earlier, I was starting to freestyle with Bam's World and then Bam's World 1.8 GPA, and then here came Drinking in Bed. So with Drinking in Bed, this one's probably my most honest, transparent, vulnerable pieces of art because it actually turned out to me rapping in bed. I went from like drinking in bed and enjoying myself, watching like whatever's on. I had every streaming service you could think of, believe me. I'm sure everybody did during the pandemic. But so I was literally in bed, like, what? Yeah. So, but then like I was just rapping in the bed. I wouldn't even get out of bed. I was just literally sitting in the bed like this with a mic and just make the songs. And so that's when I found my style because the whole pitch and tonality of the music changed. There was no courses on there. I did 24 songs. It was my longest LP ever, and I was super duper proud of it because I was like, man, I finally sound like myself. I'm finally saying what I want to say, and and I'm not writing nothing. And when I gave it to my engineer, he's like, what's up with like the sound on this? And I was like, he's like, is that just like a style thing? I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, that's cool. But he's like, next time we're gonna need some more courses. I was like, all right, cool. And this was like in 2021, going on 22, well, in 22. And he's like, well, after he said that, I took like a whole year and a half off from rap. Like I was just making music videos and just freestyling, because I wasn't ready to do a course. I never had because I knew I was done writing. I was like, I'm not going to write anymore. I'm done writing completely. But I knew that I needed to add courses to my my music. So basically, I was just like, all right, okay, let me go ahead and figure out how I'm going to do that. And so I pretty much wasn't ready. I'll just say it like that. Just simply, I wasn't ready to do that because he told me basically you're there. You just need, you're missing them courses. So I was like, all right, bet I'm gonna do that for you because clearly I know how to make a course, but I'm just not in that. I'm not in the space to where I can do it. So when I knew it's already been a year since the last album came out, and I was trying to get it on the radio, and I was literally just like really trying to go further with this one. I didn't get it on the radio, but I had radio stations reaching out to me on Instagram, wanting me to like pay to play. And I'm like, I don't want to really do that. It's not that serious. It's not even my really greatest work yet. So I came out with no courses. No courses for me basically was an experiment that actually turned out okay. It turned out okay. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't spectacular either. But honestly, it had a lot to do with me. I got the idea even where this one came from like an engineer out of state that a relative told me about, or well, my oldest sister dated. So basically, he told me because he does music, and I was like, yeah, I rap. So okay, cool. So he told me, he's like, bro, he told me where to record, right? So I went and recorded there, and I'm not gonna tell everything,
Right,
but
right.
I did do that, and it did change, like it changed everything. And so
Like for the better.
yeah, yeah. So I did the no courses, and I did it, in a different environment. I recorded it in a different environment. A few things were a little different from this one, from drinking in bed. Like when I did drinking in bed, I recorded with like earphones. I just had to get these because earphones were no good. Had a different microphone. I had to get this one. So like the settings on the microphone were a little high, and the things were a little messed up. And then I didn't really have like a lot of time, or like a lot of like I didn't really have any time to spend on making that album the greatest that I could make it. So I just did no courses because I wasn't trying to spend time on making the courses. But I also went back to that inner child in me where I was like, remember when you first started rapping and how you started rapping? It was like, do that again. Say some of the same lines that you remember when you were like 15, because people aren't even talking about that now. People don't even, but you always had that. So I was like, just do that. And so with songs like Ocean Eyes or Misfit on No Courses, those are the two standout songs. I mean, all of them have things in there, but for me, when I first listened to it through, I knew it was just too much information because I was like, man, I'm just like, it's only 22 minutes long, but I'm literally no courses, like I'm just rapping. And so kind of like Lil Wayne when he did the 10,000 bars, like just da 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 da. And so basically for myself, after 6 months that was 6 months ago. Now we're here, and I have No Courses 2 coming out, which is spelled KNOW Courses TOO, because I know Courses 2. That one I took basically what I learned from the environment that I recorded No Courses in, and then also recorded it in a different environment, put it together, spent more time on it, and definitely gave you courses on every single song. Don't want to not. I definitely want to I definitely want to let. I just want to prove to my engineer man, like, yes, I know how to do courses, but not just like it's not about like proving it to my engineer. It's really proving it to myself because I didn't write any of it, and I'm telling you, it's already in the mixing stages now, and I already have one of the songs back from my engineer, and it's love already, and it's actually over what we've already been talking about already, and it's pretty good. And it's 25 songs. So I don't know what to say.
No, man,
So
you said it like so. It's so you talked about don't be afraid to pull a Michael Jackson where he's like, all right, I'm singing to No Town to like, all right, I'm gonna do this brand new thing, and no one even has a name for it. But they had to create a whole genre of music just because they were like, we'll call it pop, I guess. Like,
yeah,
pop, right? And then people like Prince, who musically always took chances. One of my favorite examples was Queen. You go from like rock and roll to country,
mhm.
kind of folky with like Fat Bottom Girl and all that, and then they had the nerve to do an operetta. Like an operetta. Who does that, right? And like not when they were like on the decline and people were just like, they were trying to do something. Like they were just literally some guys who were like, I saw this thing the other day and I like to try it
Mhm.
in front of everybody. That's why like I got 300 plus videos on my channel, and I know that feeling, man, of taking the trip down memory lane and looking at some of your earlier works, and just being like, I could just delete it. I could, but I want people to see that difference. I want people to, whenever we cross a certain threshold, to be able to go, yeah, but let me look at this early stuff and go, oof, that brother there made some, he made some improvement.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, that's what No Courses is. It took 6 months for me to really go back and listen to it, just clear headed and all. I'm not gonna lie, I was inebriated when I made it. It was really inebriated. So I mean, like, I'm human, but that's what came out of it was actually it was ahead of its time, to be honest with you. And I'm glad I put something out in 2023 because that birthed No Courses too. So really, it was literally like a rebirth because I crossed that threshold where I said, okay, I'm not going to write anymore. That's a commitment. So I did Bam's World. I did a bunch of covers. It was fun. I did Bam's World 1.8 GPA. That one wasn't really my best, but it was basically just about my sophomore slump in high school, or I almost dropped out. Then I did Drinking in Bed. That was just going back over that title I had made in the pandemic, and then just going through like a little patch in the road. But then actually the No Courses, that was my final yeehaw. You know what I'm saying? That was me just like saying, look, I know I need to make some courses because if you go back and listen to all those freestyles, Bam World 1.8, and then Drinking in Bed, majority of them are just like me freestyling it, gassing it from the beginning to the end. There's no courses. So obviously my engineer made it clear to me. He said, bro, we know you can rap, we know you can spit, but we need some courses so you can make some songs that we can listen to. So he didn't say all that, but that's how I took it. It's like, yeah, I got you, man. I know it.
That's wow. Like consider that hooks and courses are like the trailer to a song. You know what I mean? Like it's like putting out a movie, today's society, and nobody knows it's coming out. There's no promo. There's no catchy little thing that you kind of float out there. It's just like you really. It's like being in the desert and coming across like a desert backup direction. It's like, oh shoot, what is this? Right? It's this weird looking thing. It don't look like other things, but man, it's still a pretty cool thing, right? And it's worth exploring. But yeah, that's pretty brave. Man, listen, I want you to tell the people before I get you out of here, and
Mhm.
please don't log off. I'm just gonna put you in the back room. But tell the people a little bit about what's to come, how they can reach your music. Throughout the video, my wonderful wife/slash producer, right, have been putting up their YouTube channels. And the one with young Victor part rappers, right?
Young Victor Artist. That's where
Right.
my videos are. Yeah, yeah,
I totally read that wrong. I was like, artist? What is a rock? Oh, Victor artist.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but that's the one that we talked about that had for videos. And then
Mhm.
and this one here is the one that we talked about that has all of
Mhm.
the compiled playlists of all of the albums, all of the music.
Yep, yeah, for free,
Yeah,
for the
man.
free.
Those will be in the description. Those will be in the comments. Whenever this airs. Um, but yeah, tell
Yeah,
the people where they can find you, and shout out now one of your favorite podcasts in the world, Urban Academia.
yeah. Most definitely. Let's start with Jay Zilla.
Yes, sir.
Urban. Okay, I got to make sure I'm saying your name correctly, man. Jay Zilla, shout out to you and Urban Academia. Appreciate all you do, and for having me as a guest on here. Much love. And where you can expect to find my new album coming out, Bam Bam No Courses too. You can find that pretty much on any streaming service. I'll start with the free. You can go to YouTube at the link. Expected to drop by the end of spring this year. And you can also, if you pay for streaming services, you can find it on my favorite, Apple Music. There's also Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Prime, um, the Pandora. The list goes on and on. Just type in Bam Bam, be a man now by all means necessary. If you don't remember how to spell it, it's an acronym, 8 letters. And then what to expect from me? Well, I'm just gonna play it by ear. What I would like to do, since I don't really interact on social media, is with this album coming out. Definitely want to, try again to go onto the radio. Um, if my lyrics are clean enough. But if they can work with that, then yeah, we'll give that a try. And then maybe promoting myself in real life, as I would call it, just here locally in Albuquerque, New Mexico. See what other ways I could get my myself recognized.
love it, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Listen, you have to come back because I got some more questions, man. I really
Yeah,
want
that's
to
good.
explore this GPA thing, man, and
Yeah.
also, one of your plans to possibly do some live performances. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I never actually performed before, so I mean that would really be my first time performing.
Wow, listen, that makes me feel excited because when you do, like, let me know because I will be there. I want to see.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to seeing you grow. Man.
Thank you.
No
I bet.
So go ahead, we'll put you in the back room. Don't log off and everything. I'll close this here show on now. Right? That's how we say, old men say it in the South. This here show. Oh man, thanks so much to my guest, Bam Bam, aka Justin Page. Man. Like ran into this dude, just a ball of energy, and I could just man, if I could bottle it and sell it, I would rival the Bezoses and Brunsons and what's his face, Elon Musk of the world. But go out and check out his albums, man. 8 albums in 5 years, right? So go check out those to your heart's content. Check of course, the description, everything, because details. Just one click, and you'll be right there. But I'd like to thank you for stopping by, man, and dropping some of those gems, some of the things he brought up, like especially like this ideal of that seeps into your head of only this is a young man's game, right? Anytime people try to put those limiters on there, I feel like that's a reflection of what's going on inside of them, right? So if they're an older person who wish they were rapping, they say, that's a young man's game, so it kind of gets me some wiggle room, get out of it. It's like, no, like rap is an art. Like you don't age out of painting, you don't age out of acting, you don't age out of being a pianist or anything like that. Don't rap and tell me I'm too old to rap. As Killer Mike said, you can't tell me God ain't good, right? So, man, if you got something going on inside you, when you start to feel those feelings, me as a Christian, I feel like I have a bit of an advantage to where when I start feeling fear, I know that fear isn't of God. So I immediately start to shut that down. Like whatever little, tingle of fear I get, right? Like, oh man, I don't know if I want to, I don't know if I want to write this song. Man, I gotta write that back up song. So whatever it is you're struggling with, lean towards it. Lean towards just for your passion. But hey, they say common sense ain't coming. So join us each week as I try to give them some here on Urban Academia. So then, see you next week. Peace. For you. For you.
David Ruffin limelight to stay in